Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are going to be covering everybody's most talked about nemesis. We are talking about the person that just gets the ball back, the person that breaks your rhythm. We are talking about what it means to be able to play against a pusher. When you're playing against a pusher and you're trying to figure out the best ways to beat them, you have to figure out one thing first, and this is something most people don't know. There are actually 3 types of pushers, and your job is to figure out which one you're dealing with. Once you know which one you're dealing with, then you can apply the strategies that we're going to use in this video to play against the specific type of pusher that you're dealing with. The pusher types are, you have your junk baller, you have your neutralizer, and you have your moon baller. And of course there's a little bit of variation within it, but they pretty much fall into those 3 categories. Your junk baller is a person who gives you a lot of variety in what you're dealing with as it comes back to you. We're talking about short balls, high balls, angles, drop shots. They're pretty much just doing whatever they can to break your rhythm over and over again. And truthfully, your junk baller is usually the most challenging one to play against because a lot of junk ballers actually don't know how to maintain a rhythm. You usually see the junk ballers in the 2-5, 3-0, 3-5 level because they're still kind of learning the strokes. When you get to the moon baller, that's more of a tactical choice. Those are the ones that just send the ball back high, try to push you back off the baseline, get you taking balls above your shoulder. We talked about in the last video, contact pressure. That's what they live with. And they're also doing their best to neutralize time pressure because they're giving themselves that time back by sending the ball high. The neutralizer is a very skilled pusher. Very skilled pusher, meaning what they're doing is they're actually taking hard hit balls, they're taking soft hit balls, and they're bringing it back to the speed that they're most comfortable with, which doesn't create any pressure on themselves, usually no pressure on you. So let's say somebody cracks a forehand 100 miles an hour, and they kind of just sit there and just absorb the pace and send it back. They hit a ball that's super slow, they increase the pace a little bit, but their job is to kind of keep the ball right at a neutral pace. There are pro players that use all 3 of these styles, and I'll use examples of them as we go through the video, but let's get right into the first one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to be the junk baller, and I have Emily in the back who is returning for this video. I'm going to show you guys what junk balling looks like so you have a good idea, and then I'll flip it and then we'll talk about how to beat that play style. So when you're junk balling, it's all about breaking the rhythm, getting her up, and then see something like that. Just never really letting her get to a position where she feels like she's settled in to what's going to come next. She's inside the court. She's way back. You'll usually hear somebody that plays this person talk about how they just got all the balls back in the court. And you can see she's trying really hard. But my job is pretty much just to make it as uncomfortable as possible. Good. Now, if you had to play a whole match of that, how would you feel? All right, one more time. So you can see she's a very conventional hitter. And because she's a very conventional hitter, she knows exactly where she wants the ball. Good ball. And when you're playing against a pusher of this type, Emily's already figured out one of the best ways to handle that. It is taking time away the best way you can so that you leave less room for variation. I didn't tell her to do that, but she figured it out on her own. So now I need to push even better. Yeah. And then break the rhythm. And then break the rhythm again. Very nice. But that's what you can expect from the junk baller. So now Emily's going to be the junk baller. I'm going to get a whole bunch of random things. Your best way of handling this person, as I mentioned before, is to try to control time. The closer you are, or the earlier you take some of these shots, the less room you allow for variation in the ball. So if she's hitting a high ball, that high ball can affect me way more when I start running backwards. If she's hitting a low ball, that low ball can affect me way more when I start giving it time to do whatever it's going to do. But if you have a proactive mentality in terms of how to handle these balls, you will then start to narrow down what your options are. The thing that you have to remember when you're playing against a junk baller is their goal is to break your rhythm and break your timing. And your job is to maintain it the best way possible. You have to be very proactive with your feet, otherwise it's very difficult to maintain this. So now Emily's going to be the pusher, and I'm going to just try my best not to give up the ground as best as possible. There you go. So I'm just holding, stay close. Hold, stay close. As long as I'm on the court, those shots don't affect me the same way. And you'll end up with a lot of opportunities to do more because there's not as much of a distance in backing off of the ball and then them shortening it up. So for example, when people hit drop shots or short balls, if the last ball is a high ball that you picked way back here, there's more room that you have to run. Good. Just hold my ground. Just holding ground. Good. Just stepping in, not letting her break. Oh, ooh, that'd have been tough. Not letting her break my position or break the way I like it. Good. And if you notice, I'm not really being super aggressive right now, but if I wanted to, I could do that because of my court position. Sorry, I was talking, so I didn't want to let that go too much longer. But point is, if you look for not giving up your ground, high balls, low balls, you can pretty much treat them as neutral or a little bit offensive. It's when you start letting the junk baller move you around more than is necessary that it becomes more difficult.